Alright, so the goal for you guys today is for you to be able to solve problems involving simple interest. Alright, so this is the formula you're going to want to use when you solve for simple interest. IPERT. Alright, I equals P times R times T. And remember, since you can't see the operations in between those variables, that means you're multiplying. Alright, so I, that represents the interest. Alright, that's the percent of the principal. Remember, usually interest involves two things. Either you put money in your savings account and then that money you gain interest on, alright? Or interest usually applies to a loan you take out, like a student loan for college, right? If you take out a loan, the bank, so that they make money, they're going to charge you an interest rate so that you don't just pay off, well, you take out 30 grand and then you just owe them $30,000. You actually are going to have an interest rate which is going to make you pay more than $30,000, and the higher the interest rate, the more you have to pay back to the bank than you really should. Okay. P, that represents the principal. That's the original loan or the investment. So if you take a loan out, or if like you invest money, maybe you put some money in your savings account, alright, that would be an investment. R represents the rate, alright, and that's the interest rate, percent, and it has to be in decimal form. Alright, usually in a word problem, for example, the interest rate is given as like, I don't know, 10%. Well, when you plug that percent into the formula, you have to change it into decimal form. So 10% would be 0.10 or 0.1. Alright, and T represents time, and time always has to be in years. Okay, so if it's 1 year, T is 1. If it's 1 year and 6 months, that'd be 1.5 years, or 1.5. Alright, T always has to be in years. So if they give you a time that's in months, you have to convert that to years. Alright, so, moving on. Okay, number one, you invest $5,000, alright, with an interest rate of 4% after 6 years. I want you to calculate the simple interest. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to set up your formula, IPERT, I equals P times R times T, and I'm just going to plug in the values. So we're trying to solve for the interest, I. Well, the principal, the amount that we invest is $5,000, so there's P, 5,000. The rate, that's 4%, that's our interest rate. But we had to change that 4% into decimal form, which is 0.04. And the time is 6 years, so I just got a 6 in there for T. Then you just have to multiply all the numbers. 5,000 times 0.04 is 300, and then I have to multiply that 300 times 6, and the amount of interest you earn ends up being $1,800. So, using simple interest, if you put $5,000 in the bank at an interest rate of 4% after 6 years, and you didn't touch that money, you didn't put any money in, any money out, you would make $1,800 just by letting your money chill there. Alright? Next one. Okay, number two. Let's say your student loan earns $480 of interest. Alright, with a 6% interest rate after 6 months. I want to know what your original loan was for. Alright, that's the principal. So we need to solve for P. Well, there's my formula, IPERT. Interest. The amount of interest that was gained was $480, so I'm going to put 480 in for I. P, we don't know. The rate was 6%, so 0.06 for R. And the time, right, in years was 6 months. 6 months is half a year, so I wrote that as a decimal, 0.5, half a year. Then I multiplied 0.06 times 0.5 and got 0.03. And then I was left with 480 equals P times 0.03. But, guys, we want to know what P is, so I need to get that variable all by itself. Well, what's the opposite of times 0.03? Divided by 0.03. So I'm going to divide by 0.03 on both sides. So this moves over here. The 0.03s over here cancel out. And then when I divide 480 by 0.03, I get 16,000. So how much was the original loan for? The original loan was for $16,000. Alright, that's it. Now, last one. Alright, number 3. I know, long problem. It's going to involve several steps. Okay? You open a savings account with $31,900, and after gaining simple interest, you want to have $54,230 in the bank. Alright, now, yawning, tired. Your savings account has a 5% interest rate. Now, I want to know how long you're going to have to leave your money in the bank for to actually get from $31,900 to $54,230. Alright, so I'm going to use my formula, IPERT. Now, this one isn't worked out yet because I want you to give this one a shot. Alright, that's the amount, your original investment. Okay? You know the interest rate, but this is our total of our principal and the amount we gain in interest. Okay? So, knowing that, you know what to do with this number and this number, or you should, to find out what the interest is. That's the principal, and the interest. Alright, so pause the video, give this one a shot, show all your work, and we'll see how well you do. Okay. Alright, so first thing you should have done, this is the principal and the interest. That's how much total you want in the bank. There's the interest rate. So what we need to solve for is T, time. Well, some of you might think, well, we don't even know what I is. We don't know how much was gained in interest. But I just told you, you want to put this much in the bank, and then after you gain interest, you want to have this much in the bank. Well, in order to figure out how much we need to earn in interest, I can just take this value and subtract 31,900 from it. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, I'm going to do 54,230. So we're going to do 54,230 minus 31,900. Alright, when I do that, I'm going to get, well, let me see, 22,000. $330. So that's my interest. Okay, now I can plug this number in for I. That's my interest. So I is 22,330. And that equals the principal, which was 31,900, times our interest rate, R, which is 5%, but you gotta change that into a decimal, so 0.05. And times T, what we're trying to solve for. Alright, so first I'm going to do 31,900 times 0.05. Alright, so let's see if I got my calculator here. No, I don't. Alright, I'm going to have to work this out. You don't have to write this down if you don't want to. Alright, 31,900 times 0.05. Alright. When we work that out, I get 22,330 equals 1,595 times T. Alright, but now I need to get rid of the 1,595 that's being multiplied by T. Well, how do I do that? I divide by 1,595, and I do that on both sides. So, divide 1595 this side. Whoop, that went a little too far. Not dividing the equal sign, just 22,330. So 1595. These are going to end up canceling out. So now all I'm going to have left is t. Equal sign down. T. And when I divide, I end up actually getting 14. So, what's our time? It's going to take 14 years if you invest that much in your savings account. Alright, you're going to have to leave that amount in there for 14 years at a 5% interest. If you're going to earn this much in interest, which will give you a total of $54,000. Well, sorry, $54,230. Alright, so that's it. But we're going to be working on more problems like this in class. So make sure you're getting all the stuff down and have it ready for a check tomorrow. Alright, later.